Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. We're taking another look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. We're still respecting our descending trend line here. So far, so good in that regard of, just haven't broken bullish yet. But on the same accord, is this channel going to continue? So we're going to talk about that and just kind of see if there's any back-end data that may indicate otherwise. That's really the main thing that I like to look at here, is just kind of see if there's any concentrations of liquidation, and more importantly, the liquidation delta too, kind of just implying, how many bulls or bears are kind of fighting it out right now on the back end. It can be hard to see on the chart. So just from a local perspective, we're in this middle, basically we're in a range right now, to keep it simple, between 104 and approximately 106.5. So kind of that $2,500 range. We got liquidation above and below. If we look at the heavier concentrations, so those are still at 100,000 plus or minus, and that 112 to 114K range. So not much has really changed there. If we look at liquidation delta here, this is starting to shift. Hasn't fully shifted yet, but it's getting there. So basically either shorts are closing their positions, getting squeezed out, and or just simply put, we have more markets, more longs in the market rather. Okay, so we could very well be seeing that. At this point though, we're still at a negative. So we're right there at about maybe between 4 and 2 billion. So approximately 3 billion in liquidation short delta, letting us know that bears are still mostly in control. Working our way down to liquidation or correction. Sorry, this is the open interest. Open interest does imply here in the last 30 days, there's a lot more above us than below us. So that generally implies resistance above the price. Once more at this 105.4, 105.4 and 106.7 as a close approximate there. We can zoom in to the last week worth of open interest just to kind of see where we're at here. This could help us understand if there's any support below us. So taking a look here, there really isn't. There's not a lot there. So the key takeaway here is there's a lot more buying pressure above the price, which is generally implied as a resistance and essentially not like a great sign. So it doesn't mean we're just going to drop hard. It just implies we have a lot more resistance above us, and it's going to be more challenging to continue further up, at least with a lot of strength. Now, coming to strength, or taking a look at that here, let's take a look at the volume and see if there's any shift in difference here. So far, volume is fairly low for the day, and even yesterday with that pretty significant amount of buying pressure, we saw that we're still below our moving average here. So the truth is, we need to see volume like this here in order to, hold on, let's make this a little easier. There we go. That's the kind of volume we need to see for the price to be able to do this. That's really the simple way to understand it. So with that volume being low and we're still in a descending trend, I'm not super confident we're just going to break out and take off from here. I'm still kind of along the lines of 106 to 107K being that local resistance based on open interest and a handful of other factors. But not much has changed here on the indicators there, or oscillators rather, for the daily time frame. 4 hour might be shifting momentum. Let's see. We are technically above 50 on the RSI, and we are over our moving average. So those are positive signs for a short-term continuation higher. Stochastic is swinging up again once more, and MACD is still converging. So for the most part, the 4 hour does look favorable, minus being under the 50-day SMA here, which is generally just it's a good trend to understand. So once we break above that, it may be off to the races. We get a closure above 106, 107, may need to consider taking some longs. Keep in mind too, yesterday folks, the market pumped because of some fundamental news. Basically, I think there was another pause on tariffs for Donald Trump there, sending out another tweet. So as per usual, fundamental catalysts push the price action higher there. That tends to happen every time you consider going one direction. That is either good or bad news, and it goes a lot quicker than you expected. So that's kind of where we're at there. The 4 hour time frame does tell us or implies a short-term continuation may be expected. Furthermore, here on the hourly, we should be above the cloud, which we are. This just kind of lets us know that we're still in pretty decent shape here in the overall sentiment. Lagging spans free and clear, conversion lines over the baseline. The hourly and 4 hourly time frames look pretty positive here. The only thing I'm not loving is this descending trend. So once more, we close above 106, 107K range. That would invalidate a potential short consideration, and then we may want to look for a long, depending on how we bullishly backtest that support level. Okay, so we'll pay attention to that here. But for now, this is kind of standard stuff. Nothing too crazy. Still working ourselves within this channel. You could say that this is a broadening wedge pattern here. These do typically break to the downside since it derived from the upside, though. So I'll double check a few other things. I'll go ahead and post a playout chart in our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord just so you can kind of see it. Looks a little something like this if you're not familiar. Also, make sure you join us over at Bitunix too, folks. Phenomenal exchange, awesome rewards. Use my link to register. And obviously, if you've been using my links to register in the past or have done so, you're automatically eligible for these promotions every month. So just make sure you do so and enjoy the benefits of a nice exchange. All right. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. Thanks so much for your time. See you next one. Take care.